afternoon, Wamego High School. I'm Chelsea Nearing.
And I'm Scott Smith.
And this is yet another edition of Redline News.
Well, the big news around the school is who gets long lunch for bringing those cans in. Well, Cameron Rowan brings us why exactly we did bring those cans.
Earlier this week I had a chance to catch up with Miss Brandy.
Thanks, Cameron.
Well, the rumors are true. Next year you will be able to sleep an hour later on Fridays. Paul Howard brings us more.
Thank you, Scott. Well, as many of you have noticed, our school has undergone a lot of changes over the past couple years with the new building. Well, another change is being implemented into next year's school year. The change is known as Professional Learning Communities. Many of us don't know what these new PLCs are, so I went around and interviewed Mr. Hemphill and Mrs. Workman to clarify some of the confusion about the PLCs. So what exactly are the PLCs, Mr. Hemphill?
Well, PLC stands for Professional Learning Community, and the idea is to give teachers some protected time where they can do different things with student assessments and also have some time to talk to each other about what's going on in their classes and help to build a curriculum.
So do the students have any special role in the PLCs?
Well, I think students will be affected because I think teachers will be able to focus their teaching a little bit more towards those things that students aren't getting. What teachers will ultimately have is some time to look at tests and other kinds of assessments and figure out where students are doing well, where they're doing poorly. So I think student achievement will definitely be affected.
And how popular has PLCs been with other schools around the area?
Well, in the state of Kansas, there's probably about 50 school districts that are doing it. And some are at different places than others. Some have been doing it for 4 or 5 years. Some are just jumped on last year. Rick and Becky DeFore, who are the big gurus of professional learning communities, came to Kansas in April of last year. And so as people went to that conference, they saw how that would be very powerful and just jumped in. They didn't go to their boards, and say, hey, we've studied it for a year. They just said, we're going to do it. And so they did. And so I don't know what their success rate is or anything like that, but it's popular throughout the United States. It's the thing to do. It's the right thing to do for kids and teachers. It really is.
Okay, and what changes to the school can students expect to see next year because of the PLCs?
I think the biggest change will be what they see in their schedule. 0 hours will become a Monday, Wednesday 0 hour or a Tuesday, Thursday, depending on which 0 hour students choose. And they'll start school about 10 minutes. They'll start their 0 hour about 10 minutes earlier. The payoff to that is on Fridays, nobody has a class until 8:55. So kids can sleep in. We'll have bus riders that'll come into us, and we'll have the library open. We'll have the Commons absolutely is open for kids to have breakfast when they come in. We'll have some hopefully some National Honor Society students who will be getting some community service hours by working with students at different subject areas. We haven't worked out all the logistics on that, but we'll have it done before the end of the year. But that is the most powerful thing about this is we're going to have teachers working together, collaborating for 1 hour every Friday about kids and if they're learning things and how can we help them. I think that is huge for Wamego High School.
Well, there you have it. We here at Redline News hope that cleared everything up for you. I'm Paul Howard. Back to you,
Thanks,
Scott.
Paul.
Well, those golfing boys are at it again. Will brings us more on how their season's going so far. Moo.
Chelsea, what are you doing?
Well, Scott, I just got back from the kitty barnyard down there at the ag shop, and it was amazing.
Well, let's check it out.
Turn it up.
Thanks, Scott. I'm Chelsea Nearing reporting for Redline News, and I'm here with Lewis Doherty, a member of FFA. Lewis, what is Kitty Barnyard?
Kitty Barnyard is a day where we have animals come in from all over the FFA residence's house. It's pretty exciting. The kids learn about issues like safety for tractors and also animal safety.
Awesome. And I understand that elementary students come over if their teacher wants them to see these things, and you have different stations. What different stations did you have this year?
Well, we had stations. One was this calf. I thought it was dead personally because it just was lying on the ground. But others would have been baby chickens. I think we had 2 roosters, a couple bunnies and horses, and also tractors and lawnmowers. Some of the kids also love those.
I'm coming home to you.
And where do these animals come from? Where do you get them?
Mainly our FFA members. They bring them from home, and kids like to see them.
Wheels keep on turning. Carry me home to see my...
All right, and Lewis, how do you think overall the day went?
Well, I was out there for a little bit with my little preschooler Emma, but she enjoyed it, so I figured everybody else pretty much had a lovely day.
And this is an annual event for FFA? Does it happen every year?
He sure does.
All right, so you can look forward to it next year if you missed this Kitty Barnyard. This is Lewis Doherty. I'm Chelsea Nearing. Thanks. Back to you, Scott.
Looks like a great time, Chelsea.
It was a good time. Speaking of a good time, this last weekend there was the annual Tulip Festival down at the Wamego City Park, and Melissa Slagle brings us more. Well, that concludes yet another edition of Redline News. I'm Chelsea Nearing.
And I'm Scott Smith.
And we'll see you next time.